Boo.
Hello, hello. Welcome to Sunday Fun Day.
We're back.
We're back. We have Nettie and me, BB3.
Mm-hmm.
We have over here in the audience so far, we have Ashley was in here nice and early. Ashley Ratliff. She says, this will be good to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And then Fordman, aka Kenneth Oakes, he is so supportive. If you do not have Kenneth Fordman, aka Kenneth Oakes, you need to add him because he is so supportive. He shares all of his friends out and he makes sure that everybody is on his community tab and all of his friends are getting noticed. So make sure you go grab him if you do not have him yet because he is so very supportive. And I am sure everybody else will be in just a few minutes. But I wanted to kind of address something because I got a comment this past week. So I wanted to address something here at the beginning of the show that I explained in one of my comment responses. But somebody had kind of commented and addressed the giggling in throughout our shows. And so I just kind of wanted to say that sometimes we do heavier topics and we do giggle as we talk about them because we do our live shows. And so we have people commenting. And the way that I think we deal with the heavier topics because we handle heavier topics is, people make jokes in the comment sections and we just kind of deal with heavier topics through a little bit of laughter.
Yeah.
But the reason we cover these heavy topics is because we feel like the victim stories need to be told. With that, though, and doing these subjects every single Sunday, sometimes that can be really heavy. So to lighten the mood, a lot of the times we make a few jokes. And that's just the way we handle true crime here on this channel. So I hope that explains the giggling. And I hope that you stay with us and get to know us a little bit and understand that as you get to know us. So to this week's subject, we are doing, what are we doing, Nettie? You want to tell everybody?
We are doing a Skidmore, Missouri series. And it's crazy, this true crime. This is on, is it Ken? I'm trying to remember his first name. Ken Rex McElroy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, he lives in, he lived
Yeah.
in Skidmore, Missouri, which
Skidmore,
is a
Missouri.
town of, I think at the time was like 400 people. So very small town, right?
Right. Now it's just a little over 200. So half of them are gone. But yeah, very small town back
Very
in
small town.
when this took place.
Yeah. And so and like Nettie said, this is going to end up being a 3-part series about the
Yeah.
Skidmore, Missouri. So it'll be exciting to follow along for the next couple of Sundays as we go through this series. But let's go ahead and get started talking about who killed Ken Rex McElroy. The town keeps its secrets for 38 years.
Yeah, they're a little tight knit town there.
Yeah, pretty tight knit. Then we have Thin Blue Lane RV Life in here. Hello, hello. I hope you are doing better.
Yes.
All right, I'll let you go ahead and start there.
Okay. Skidmore, Missouri. 4 decades after Ken Rex McElroy was gunned down on the main drag of Skidmore, Missouri, in one of America's most infamous cold cases, the story of the notorious, brutal town bully has refused to die with him, no matter how much the farmers and the blue collar workers who lived in this small farming town wish it would.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And Nettie is looking very beautiful. I
Aw.
agree.
So are you, BB?
I'm going to try moving my mic just a little, and you all let me know if the sound is better up here or down below. You guys let me know. All right. How could it? Anywhere from 30 to 90 people watched the 47-year-old McElroy die in an act that ended his decade-long reign of terror over the people of Skidmore. Johnny's Journey said, "Sorry, we are late." No problem, Johnny's Journey.
You're never late. At least some of the witnesses surely knew who fired the bullet that shattered the back window of McElroy's truck and blew off the back of his head. Yet, in a conspiracy of silence that has spanned the past 38 years, the townfolk have held the secret close.
Tinks, hello, hello.
Hey,
Tink says, "Hello, my lovely ladies. I am showing your Bloody Sunday video to a few of my friends this Tuesday night." Well, thank you so much.
thank
I
you.
appreciate that. We have a Johnny's Journey raid. Hello, hello. Thank you so much, Johnny's Journey. Linda Barker, hello, hello. All right. So, in case everyone didn't catch it, this is going to be a 3-part series on the town of Skidmore, Missouri. And the first part is going to be about how the town held a 38-year secret. Well, it's still holding a 38-year secret on who killed McElroy.
Nobody saw anything.
Yeah, the whole town, nobody saw anything.
No.
The story was thrust back to the forefront this month by No One Saw a Thing, a 6-part Sundance TV docuseries exploring the moral ambiguity. Okay, this word's going to get me. Ambiguity of frontier justice and the unspoken yet universally intriguing question: when, if ever, does someone like McElroy deserve to die? Now, I want everybody to kind of remember that question. When, if ever, does someone like McElroy deserve to die? Along with that, I want you to ponder, is it okay for the townspeople to kill off a man and get away with it? Think about it.
The story of Ken Rex McElroy began on June 1st, 1934. He dropped out of school before he reached high school, and by 13 was already a familiar character to the cops around Nottoway County.
Also, if everybody could let me know if the sound on my end is better right now. I'm also going to move it in just a second, and you guys can let me know about the sound. What is going on here? Hold on. I'm hitting buttons. Sorry. Let me know if the sound is better now, or in a second I'm going to move it. You guys kind of let me know. All right. All right. His lifelong career as a criminal started with petty offenses, but he increasingly became more violent, amassing a rap sheet that included nearly 24 felony charges for assault, child molestation, statutory arson, burglary, grand theft, and hog and cattle rustling. Enterprises that kept a thick roll of $100 bills in his pocket. This is Mr. McElroy's rap sheet, by the way. keep this in mind.
McElroy, for the most part, escaped prosecution and certainly conviction of various crimes. Then, on one night of July 8th, 1980, McElroy shot 17-year-old Skidmore grocer Ernest Bo Bowenkamp, unwittingly setting up his own murder a year later.
All right, now my sound should be a little bit different. Let me know which sound was better at the time before or right now. And then Thin Blue Lane, can you let us all know how you're doing over there in the comments? And Nomadic Hippie, hello and welcome. There is no such thing as late.
No.
Okay, this is Ernest Bo Bowenkamp. This poor man.
I know. He looks so sweet.
He does. Mm-hmm. Everyone in town seemed to know McElroy had done it. Yet, he spent only a single night in jail for nearly killing the man. No one was surprised. McElroy, 4 years earlier, had pumped a couple of rounds of buckshot into the stomach of a local farmer, Roman Henry, as he tried to run the blackguard off his land. He got away with it too. Now, the sound before was slightly better. Okay, thank you so much, Tinks. I appreciate that. So let me just back up and explain this for 1 second. Just so we're getting what this man was doing, okay? So the guy, McElroy, takes his daughters to the grocery store. And his daughters go in, and that older gentleman that we showed the picture of, that nice, kind gentleman, owns the grocery store. And McElroy's daughters go in, and they're stealing, allegedly. And the nice old gentleman says to them, I believe that you're stealing from my store. They go out and they say, Daddy McElroy, that old man said we were stealing. So McElroy comes back and finds the nice gentleman sitting on his back dock area and takes a shotgun and holds it to that nice gentleman's face. And the nice gentleman leans to the side because he has like 2 seconds to decide. Is McElroy just trying to scare him, or is McElroy really going to shoot him in his face? Is he just trying to scare him, or is he really going to shoot him?
Yeah.
So he leans, and he ends up getting shot in the neck. So he survives. Thank God he survives. Okay, that's the first story. The second one we hear about here is a man that's driving down the road, and McElroy sticks a gun in the truck at the guy's stomach,
yeah,
and blows the shotgun in the guy's stomach. And neither time does this man end up behind bars. Neither time. This is only 2 things that we've heard about so far.
So far.
Just want to be clear that we're understanding that this man is walking around with a shotgun shooting people. Okay? Just want to be very clear that we're getting that. Okay. Sorry, I know I talk a lot, but I just, the intensity.
No, you're just clarifying it. It's all great.
I mean, can you imagine your neighbor is walking around shooting people with a shotgun and he comes home that same night? Like, can you imagine the fear that would be going through you? Uh-oh. Would you, like, how would you handle that, Nettie, if you knew that your neighbor was, like, just shot Billy at the neighborhood store with a shotgun in the face?
I would turn the key and leave.
You
don't want to be around that person, because obviously if they're getting away with it, they're going to keep doing it, so I definitely would want to leave.
Yeah, I don't even think I'd worry about selling my house at that point. I'd
No.
just be like,
Yeah.
see you later.
Yeah.
Billy might come shoot me next. I'm out.
Yeah.
Now that's the one that he reached in the truck and shot
Yeah.
in the stomach, right?
Right. By the time McElroy was shot dead under glare of the morning sun on July 10th, 1981, everybody feared his hair trigger temper and brooding presence. Skidmore townfolk may not all have liked how he was killed, but it was murder after all. But when he died, most of the town's 435 residents let out a heavy sigh of relief.
That'd be me. I'd be like, whew,
Like
he's
he's
gone?
gone.
I don't know. I might be one of the townspeople that was out there in the street that day. I'm just saying. Just saying. Might be snapping a few pictures. But I don't
Yeah.
know. Might be making a YouTube video that day. Nettie almost spit her drink out.
I almost did. Because that's what I do. I film all the time. So I probably would.
Nettie's like, what are all those people gathering in the street for? I'll catch this on video. Hey, full-time dream. All right. They could finally sleep peacefully at night, especially Bo and Louis Bowenkamp and their children. It was not the kind of justice they should have gotten, 60-year-old Joyce Monty, the Bowenkamp's daughter, told Patch in a telephone interview from her home in Oklahoma. They done moved to Oklahoma. They were like, peace, we're out. But sounds a bit like McElroy had the authorities in his pockets.
Yep.
Or he had the authorities scared for their life.
But I don't understand. The authorities have guns. All it takes is a bullet. You know what I mean?
Hey, James Catnies, how are
Hey.
you? Yeah, I think, man, it's been a while. I've had so much going on and I'm having a brain moment. Do you write about the authorities in here?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not gonna talk about that just yet.
Roy and Becky.
Roy and Becky, hello. All right. For everyone that's just coming in, this is going to be a 3-part series about Skidmore, Missouri. Crazy town. But the first part is starting with Ken McElroy, and then there's going to be 2 more parts. There's actually 4 insane stories out of there,
Yeah.
but there's not enough to do 4 parts, so we're going to do 3 parts. But that the town itself, we're just getting into it.
Oh my gosh. It's almost like Children of the Corn.
Yeah. I think somebody is going to know that area pretty well. Might be even able to stop and do a video of the town if they feel safe enough.
Right.
When I go visit somebody that's going to be down near there, I'll stop and do a video of the town.
Not that far.
All right. I think it's your turn, right?
Oh, yeah. We stood up and did the right thing. We went to the police. We went to the courts. We went everywhere we could, but justice would stay delicately out the way, she said. Looking back, the justice system had as much to do with killing Ken McElroy as anyone in Skidmore did.
Do you talk about the deputy guy? Do you talk
Yeah.
about him? Okay. What happened in Skidmore that day wasn't much different than the completely predictable result from shaking a carbonated beverage until the top finally blows. That's a very good analogy.
Yeah.
Skidmore. Skidmore. Have a yabba dabba do time. Uneducated, but very cunning.
A swarthy, physically intimidating man who carried about 270 pounds on his mere than 6 foot frame. McElroy had thick black eyebrows and bushy sideburns, heavy lids, veiled cold, still blue eyes, making them look like half moons.
A very intimidating man to go with his intimidating personality.
Yeah.
He was as mean as he looked, but there was more to his baleful demeanor, said Colorado lawyer and author Harry McLean, who lived with a prominent Skidmore farm family off and on for about 5 years while he researched In Broad Daylight, a New York Times bestseller chronicling McElroy's life and death. A Murder in Skidmore, Missouri, in Broad Daylight includes the story behind In Broad Daylight with previously unpublished photos. This town still looks a lot like that today, but the buildings are just like kind of crumbling.
And he was very cunning, McLean told Patch. He knew which people to pick on, the weak people, and he followed through on his threats, just often enough to make people believe he was going to do what he said he was going to do.
Yeah, he shot people. He had a legendary status, and it all got to be bigger than he was. Somebody would hear his name, and the legend grew bigger. When he got off on a trial, it grew even bigger. It went beyond just hammering people and being mean spirited. He neutralized an entire criminal justice system. Scary.
Oh, yeah. Now, often witnesses changed their mind about testifying before trial began, McLean said. And if a case did make it to trial, a juror might open the mailbox to find a rattlesnake. Gene McFadden, McElroy's nickel slick lawyer from Kansas City, could get Ken off every time.
That's the lawyer.
The lawyer.
Kirby Gostley, a 71-year-old Skidmore farmer who still works the land his family homesteaded 6 generations ago, told Patch almost everyone, with the exception of Bo Bowenkamp, backed down. Well, shoot, he had already been shot in the neck.
Yeah. There's Kirby.
Kirby Gostley.
Livestock owners looked the other way when a few head of cattle or hogs vanished in the night, or gas barrels used to fuel farm implements were noticeably emptier. The mere mention of his surname was enough to cause anxiety, if not full terror.
When they met him on the street, parents steered their children, especially their daughters, away from McElroy. a notorious womanizer who favored young women and was married multiple times, including to a child bride he was accused of R-ing, and fathered 15 children. Holy moly.
Yeah. Did you research or did you find anything about his marriage? Were you able to pull any of that up on what they just? Oh, I can't hear you.
The last marriage or the
Yeah,
one?
his 15-year-old bride
Was
was
she the
based.
one that he was married to last?
I want to say she is, unless I'm wrong. But it was almost like a threat where he made her marry him.
Well, most of them were he made them get married.
Okay.
Yeah, like most of them were threats. Like he didn't. There wasn't any of them, I think, that married him willingly. But the
And they all
last
were
one,
young, right? They were all.
yeah, they were all young.
Yeah.
And then the last one that married him, I was very confused by her, but I don't know her age. I'll talk more about why I was confused by her when we get to
Okay.
what ended up happening. I'll
Okay.
explain why I was confused by her, but I'd be less confused if we knew her age,
Yeah.
because I kind of think that maybe he threatened her, and that's why she was with him. But I'm a little confused by her. But I'll
Okay.
talk more about that at the end.
Okay.
Is this one mine or yours?
I think
Yours?
it's mine. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a matter of self preservation. Retaliation would be severe. Calling the sheriff about his threats was risk few were willing to take. Not that it would have done much, Ghostly said.
Our law enforcement never went after him very hard, he said. The son of a bee would just as soon shoot them as anyone else. In the plain spoken manner of speaking, in Skidmore, McElroy simply needed killing. Like a gangrene leg needs to be severed to save the whole body, the law wasn't going to help the people of Skidmore. They had to look out for themselves. Also, something to keep in mind in these very small towns, because like my family had a farm when I was growing up in a very small town. Like the town didn't even have a stoplight in my family's farm, like where my family's farm was located. We didn't have a stoplight. The biggest thing we had was a Walmart, and when I say we had a Walmart, it was like one of those very tiny Walmarts. We didn't have groceries or anything in the Walmart. Like we had some clothes in the Walmart. Um, and we had a Sonic, one restaurant in the town. Uh, so when my dad got hit by a drunk driver and it totaled out my dad's truck, we had to hold, like, thankfully my brothers were there and they were big guys. We had to hold the drunk driver there. But after 45 minutes of holding the drunk driver there and the police not showing up because they had to come from over an hour away, the drunk driver wasn't drunk anymore. Like the alcohol had wore off and the drunk driver had left because you can't hold them that long, no matter how big my brothers were. And like my dad's truck didn't get repaired. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like same thing goes in this town. Like when something happens, it takes forever for a cop to even get there. So in these situations, when even if the cops were going to step up and do something, it would be forever before a cop would get there to assist with a situation with McElroy. You know what I mean? If they were going to do anything. So
Yeah.
these
But
people were kind of on their own anyway.
so that's probably why he, was such a bully, because the law wasn't in the town.
Yeah, I think they didn't have like a police station in town to begin with. And then I think you're going to get into it soon anyway, but they'll have one of the townspeople that they hire as like a deputy that helps kind of run the town. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they do much good when there's a town bully like this guy. So,
Yeah.
all right. Shooting over penny candy. This is. Okay.
What set off McElroy and put the local grocer in his crosshairs was the pettiest of offenses. In April 1980, Trina McElroy told her husband a clerk in the Bowenkamp store has accused their 4-year-old daughter of stealing penny candy. It was a misunderstanding, but one that made the Bowenkamps' lives a living hell for months.
Like over penny candy. Not even just they were stealing, it was literally over penny candy. Grow up, sir. Grow up. It's not even that big of a deal. Like,
Yeah,
instead of shooting the man, why don't you just go throw pennies at him?
right.
There's some pennies. Like, be petty and throw pennies at him rather than shotgun bullets. I don't know. So stupid. It was out of the blue, almost to the point of being surreal, said Monty, who occasionally worked in her parents' store. We had shoplifting, but a lot of people were on hard times. Ken Rex McElroy, daughter. Wonder if his kids still talk to him or have anything to do with. Oh, wait a minute. Never mind. My can't.
It's all good.
I had a brain fart there for a moment. Forgive me, and everyone laugh at me because I just asked if the dead guy's daughter still talked to him.
Yeah,
If anybody caught how stupid of a blonde moment I just had there.
I think it moved like 3 times.
Yeah, this is the shoplifting. Everyone was on a hard time. Then we're going to come on the picture.
Oh, okay.
There we go. And then the next one's going to be
Yeah.
RVBFE. Hiya, BB and Nettie. Penny candy these days cost $1.50.
Yeah. There we go.
There we go.
There was a kind of silent charity on the part of my parents, and they never prosecuted. If they thought it was getting too out of hand, they would send one of us up and down the aisle. No one was ever accused of shoplifting or stealing. You just didn't do that.
The clerk, Evelyn Summy, was at the back of the store when the doors swung open. Someone warned her. You're about to meet Ken Rex McElroy, Monty said. No, I don't get paid enough money. See you later. Ken's coming in the store. I'm out. Bye-bye. I'm watching the Vikings at a friend's, but stopping in to say a quick hi. Hey, Tommy Travels. Thanks for stopping in. I quit. See you later.
Yeah. I'm gone. He stood silently at the back of the store, but his wife tore into Sumney in an argument laced with the 4-letter bombs, Monte said. Evelyn tried to explain what had happened, that nobody had accused the children of stealing, and Trina said, why would my effing daughter lie?
See, and this is where I start to struggle with the wife. And this is why I said we'll have to wait and kind of see towards the end. I think that a lot of the wives might have been forced, but I'm not sure about this last wife because she very much seemed throughout the stories that I've heard to be very much involved in the bullying.
Yeah.
And a lot of it on her own, not so much like she was being forced. A lot of it seemed to be on her own. But if she was groomed, if she was very, very young, she could have been groomed, and that's why her behavior was that way. So I don't know. It depends on her age as to whether or not I feel that way.
Yeah.
Roy and Becky said, yeah, it sounds like the wife wasn't much better. I agree. But if she was like 15 when she married him, then she was probably groomed and didn't really have a choice in the matter. So I'm not really sure on the wife. I don't know. Trina McElroy.
And she looks pretty young there.
She looks young, but she doesn't look all that much younger than him.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I mean, she looks young. She looks young, but she doesn't look teeny bopper young.
Yeah.
The McElroys eventually left the store, but when Bowenkamp closed up that night, he was outside waiting. Refusing to argue, he and Louise went home. Yeah, Roy and Becky said she doesn't look like a teen.
Yeah. They showed back up in front of their house that night, and he and Trina sat there and watched them, Monte said. That became the pattern. Once he even got out and fired a shotgun up in the pine tree by their house. Evelyn lived across the street, and he made sure that she could see them. He'll leave, but then he'll come back, Monte said.
That's okay. So I'm still thinking about the wife thing. She had kids. They were her kids by this point. So she may have been a teenager when she got married and already has grown and not a teenager in that picture, or by the time this happened. I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt here. I'm still not sure. I guess I should by the time we come back, because like we said, this is going to be a 3-part series. I'm going to try to research and see how old she was when they got married. I'll try to do that research and figure out how old she was when they got married, or maybe how old she was when he passed, and see if I can find out one of those two, because that'll give us a better idea, maybe, of, was she a bully like him, or was she groomed to act that way, or was she doing it out of survival? So I'll look into that. Oh, he's so proud.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like a professional photo, does it not?
Yeah, I probably had his wife stand there, take a photo of him.
I mean, cameras weren't that good back in the day to it looks like a glamour shot photo or something. I don't know. It's kind of strange.
Then
Your turn.
Then on a warm July 9th, McElroy shot my dad as he sat on the back loading dock of his store, waiting for an air conditioner repairman, Monte said. A deer slug in one chamber tore through Bowenkamp's neck, coming within 3 inches of his head.
Yeah, that's where he was, in the interviews I've watched, where he was saying, I didn't know if he was trying to scare me or if he was really going to shoot. He's like, so I just decided either way, I'm going to lean. And he leaned just in time to get shot in the neck instead of the head.
That's crazy.
Yeah. How is this man not in jail? Missouri State Highway Patrol Trooper Richard Stratton, The only lawman in Northwest Missouri ever known to stand up to McElroy hunted McElroy down and arrested him on an attempted murder charge. Patrol Trooper Richard Stratton. He looks so much smaller than McElroy.
Yeah.
He also looks so much kinder. RVBFE says, I think people looked older back in the day. They had us all trying to be adults in our teens. That's very true.
Mhm. He spent the night in jail before posting bond, then sauntered mincingly back into the D&G Tavern and pool hall and took his usual spot. How is this man not in jail? Monte said, repeating the question asked by many when he showed up in Skidmore the morning after his release.
In the months before McElroy went to trial, the Bowenkamps and Sumney went to bed scared, woke up frightened, and lived in terror with every breath. They slept in shifts with some friend or family member keeping an eye on the street. I can't even imagine. Hey, fairy dust weep in the wild winds. Hello, hello.
Mhm.
You're listening while driving. I'm so glad to see you in the chat. I looked at everything before I went live today to make sure you weren't blocked. Fairy Dust thought they were blocked from the channel, and I kind of went over and double checked my keywords and everything. So I'm so glad you are showing up in the chat today. Love it. So whatever I guess was going on is fixed. So it's good to see you.
Yeah. That's crazy that they had to sleep in shifts, that you're
Yeah.
that terrified.
That's what I was saying. Like, can you imagine being the neighbor of this guy or being the
Yeah.
one to get shot and surviving it, and then he gets arrested and you're having to worry about whether or not he's going to take you
Gonna
out?
come back. Yeah.
I just can't imagine.
There were so many nights Dad couldn't go out and mow the yard or water the flowers because there was a truck parked down the street and they were watching the house, Monte said. McElroy would just sit and glore at you or just stare at you, and you never know what he was thinking.
It sounds to me like more than anything else, he enjoyed the fear that he instilled in people. Maybe
Yeah.
not even so much killing people, it was just the fear that he instilled in people, which is absolutely sick. McElroy was known to pay local kids for information about who was where in town and at what time. So the Bowenkamps developed their own network of informants.
Isn't that
My
crazy?
God.
And they deliver messages in code. For example, one of the owners of the D&G Tavern would send her young children to the grocery store for paper towels, keeping the children innocently unaware that they were telegraphing an urgent message for the Bowen camp to call the police. McElroy was in town and behaving belligerently.
That's crazy, the intricate code
Yeah.
they had to develop. That's the grocery store.
Yeah.
We might not see him for 3 or 4 days, and then we'd see him every day for weeks, Monty said. Everyone was keeping an eye on us. When you didn't know where he was, you didn't dare take the chance of not being on your guard.
After McElroy fired a gun outside her house, Evelyn Sumney appealed to David Dunbar, the town marshal. Dunbar talked to him, and McElroy pulled a gun on him, Monte said. he quit. She took her complaint to, at the time, Nottoway County Sheriff Roger Cronk, and he was non-pulsed.
So that's the guy I was talking. So like we called them deputies,
Yeah,
but they called him the town marshal. So that's the guy that was in town, the only one, because they didn't have police in town. They had a town marshal. It was a guy that got paid
yeah.
in the town to like be the one police officer in the town. And he's like, yeah, no, I don't get paid enough for this crap. See you later. And he quit.
And he quit, and he became the cable guy. He even has a cable guy hat on.
Yeah. And I think the other part of that was he was supposed to testify against McElroy as well, because he saw, I think he saw the
When he shot?
Yeah, he saw the guy get shot. He saw the grocery store guy get shot. So he was supposed to testify in the trial. And McElroy was like, "You're not planning on testifying, are you?" And he's like, "Not anymore. I quit."
Yeah.
Like, for somebody to have this much
Power
and still this much fear over an entire town is mind-boggling to me. But what the town does is kind of even better. And I don't know. I probably shouldn't say things like that. Justice system's supposed to work, right?
Yeah.
So Tink said, McElroy for president. Hee hee. I mean, McElroy got everybody listening to him, so
yeah. There's wearing his hat. He went to become a cable guy.
He said, "Forget being the town marshal. I'm going to the cable business. Town marshal ain't for me. I'm too scared."
Yeah. The sheriff said, "If you have to shoot him, let us know, and we'll come and get him before he starts stinking." Monte said.
If you have to shoot McElroy?
Yeah.
So why didn't he, the town marshal, just go ahead and shoot McElroy then? Just I don't know.
Yeah.
The breaking point. In the summer of 1981, a jury handed McElroy his first ever felony conviction for the lesser charge of second-degree assault. He shot a guy in the neck, tried to kill the guy, and he got second-degree assault. Not only that, they recommend he spend no more than 2 years in prison. Unreal.
It's that slimy lawyer.
McElroy. Oh my God.
Now, McElroy escaped jail on an appeal bond and could remain free until he exhausted his appeals, free to taunt his victims with what he had become painfully clear. He would never go to jail.
Oh yeah, it seems painfully obvious. As the story has been told by McLean and others, McElroy showed up at the D&G Tavern and Pool Hall the next day, toting a rifle with a bayonet, a violation of his bond, and threatening to finish off the Bowen camps.
Over penny candy.
Penny candy, everyone. Penny candy.
Yeah. No one doubted he would do just that. Still working within the justice system, witnesses who saw McElroy with the gun gave the information the county prosecutor needed to request a bond revocation hearing. Okay.
You did so good on that one.
Thank you.
That one's a hard one. The townspeople organized a caravan to escort the witnesses to the hearing, both to protect them and to show solidarity. McFadden, McElroy's lawyer, got the hearing postponed. That was the last straw, McLean said. That was the last failure of the criminal justice. Holy float, all these names are Irish names. Tinks, these Irish people be acting up. What's going on over here, Tinks?
What's up with that? The town folks were infuriated. Dozens of them gathered at Skidmore's American Legion Hall on the morning of July 10th, 1981. What could legally be done about McElroy, they asked Sheriff Danny Stitz, who had been elected months earlier. He left town just as Ken and Trina McElroy were driving in, likely passing McElroy's Chevrolet Silverado pickup in his cruiser on the road. He's like, I'm gone. I'm not going to witness this.
Okay, so this is the Legion Hall, which I believe if you look to the left, that other building right there is going to be the bar. So they are on the same street and right next to each other. So this is the Legion Hall, and then the bar's right next to it. Hey, Lucky Dog Productions moderator Sue. Hello, and welcome. When word spread that McElroy was in town, a couple of the men walked from the Legion Hall to the D&G. Get out of town, they said, as Trina told the story to reporters. A group of men followed them as they left the D&G.
McElroy started his pickup, and the sound of shots pierced the silence. A couple of men hustled Trina to a nearby bank, away from the gunfire. When the shooting ended, McElroy was slumped over the steering wheel. No one called for an ambulance, and everyone just went home.
Hey, RV Underway, no problem. Sorry, my mic fell. No problem. Thanks for catching the end here, and if you catch the replay, thanks so much. Anyone that's just now coming in, this is the first part of a 3-part series we're going to be doing for the next couple of Sundays. So, town of Skidmore, Missouri, got some wild stories coming out of it.
Got some great people there.
Most definitely. I find this interesting because so I've heard this part a couple of different ways. So I've heard that the men met up at the Legion Hall, like several men met up so there's like 400 people at the time in the town, right?
Yeah.
And I heard that there was 100 or so men that met up at the Legion Hall. I heard, allegedly, that the cable guy, the what do they call him again?
Was it
what was his title? The police.
Marshal.
The marshal.
Yeah.
The marshal. I heard that he was one of the 100 guys. I heard that about 100 guys, including him, allegedly, met up at the Legion Hall, and they all discussed what they were about to do. And then they walked on down, and that right before they walked in, that Trina told McElroy, hey, I got a bad feeling. We need to go. But then as soon as they walked in, she was like, we need to go. Like something's wrong. And so then her and McElroy left. like without anybody even having to say anything to them. And so then they went out to the truck and they were followed out by the 100 men. So then there was 100 men standing around the truck. Somebody grabbed her out of the truck, and no more than they grabbed her out of the truck, the gunfire started. And she didn't get to see anything because they were scooting her away. So she really didn't know who shot.
Yeah, who shot him.
Yeah, so nobody really knows who shot him. But I've heard this, the way you described it here in the story, and then I've heard that other version of the story. But everybody that was in the bar that wasn't in on the meeting over at the
American
Legion, they also came outside the bar. And then there was the original group of men that met up, and they were outside the bar. So all these people were all out there and nobody saw a thing. So either way you look at this story that was told, you know, whether it's this story that you told it or the legend that was told, you know, the way that I just recalled it, there was at least 100 people, at least, because you figure the people that were inside the bar and the people that were in the streets and everybody that was there. And nobody saw a thing. Nobody. So earlier we asked a question, which was, you know, given everything this man has done, the list of crimes this man has done, and how badly the justice system is failing at putting him away in jail, what do you think about what the townspeople did? And the fact that 38 years later, still no one has spoke out. No one knows who actually shot him. He didn't survive, you know. So think about it over there, because we're not done with the story yet, but think about it and kind of let us know if you think the townspeople were right for getting rid of the biggest bully.
Yeah.
And keeping the secret and not.
What I heard too is the husbands never told the wives. It's everybody just went silent.
Yeah, it happened that day and no one ever spoke of it again.
Nope.
No one actually knows who did it. And I think there was so many guns that they even, I think there was enough guns shooting in the same direction that they may not even know.
Yeah.
Like they may have had so many guns going in the same direction that they may not technically know whose gun is the one that actually shot him too.
Yeah.
The way that they set it up. So, you know, they may not actually know which one did it, but they know which ones were aiming and which ones were closest to that truck, you know, to take that shot. So there's probably 3 or 4 of them that know it had to be one of those 3 or 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what do you think about this? RVBFE says, sounds like textbook vigilante justice. So do you all believe in vigilante justice? Do you believe in that? Or do you believe that they should have waited out the justice system? What do you all believe on that? All right, let's continue the story here. Also, what do you think of the wife? I guess would be another question, because she seems to have been protecting him.
Yeah.
No matter her age or, you know, what she had been put through by him. What do you think of her protecting him through all of this and being kind of...
She could have been scared that he was going to end up harming her if she didn't go along with him too.
Yeah, but if she knew the town, because I guess the other part that I was going to say, no matter her age or whatever, is she knew the town was getting ready to do this. She knew something bad was going down. And she was trying to protect him in this. I have a problem with that. Because, if you're about to get out of a bad situation, no matter how scared you are, why are you protecting him? That I have a problem with.
Yeah.
So, all right. So here's the truck afterwards. Yeah, there was windows on the building and everything. Like the bartender had a front row seat
Yeah.
And he didn't see a thing. Nobody see nothing.
Gunfire? What gunfire?
Somebody shot somebody? There was guns out there?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I think it's your turn, isn't it?
I think it's your turn. Yeah.
Oh, okay. When I don't know what that word is. Is that terrible? Estes and state troopers arrived back in town. The streets were empty and quiet, much like his problems. You know, he created problems and then he just went home. They arrived back in town. The streets were empty and quiet except for the rumbling, smoking engine of McElroy's truck. His foot fell to the accelerator when he was shot, causing the engine to run at full bore. No one bothered to turn it off. No one wanted to leave fingerprints. What kills me is if his wife cared so much, why didn't she go out there and like hug her husband and be like, "Oh, baby, I lost my husband." No, she was like, "My husband's dead. Time to go home." Like,
dinner time.
So confused. Larice, just say hello and welcome. Good morning. No problem. I completely understand. We're in different time zones. I understand. Yeah, I'm confused by the wife like not being right next to her husband. Like, and I'm not even saying she had to hug him, but why wasn't she sitting next to the truck? Why didn't she turn the truck off? Like,
yeah, you would think she would be in a panic, you know?
Yeah, it's like confusing to me.
Investigators found shell casings from 2 weapons, a 22 caliber Magnum rifle and an 8mm Mauser, a German World War I era long-range rifle. The guns were never recovered.
So, okay, so I guess then if they only found casings from 2 guns, then there was technically only 2 guns shot. Which would mean only 2 people were shooting. So only 2 people, chances are only 2 people then one of those 2 people would be responsible.
Right? It shouldn't be hard to figure out.
It's one of those 2 people. Huh. And I guess they used those guns because I guess like those would be guns you would get rid of. Those wouldn't be really, except for the German World War I era gun. You would think you would want to hang on to that. That would be a historic gun. That would be an easily trackable gun too, I would think, because who was in the World War I? Like, who had family that was in that? Okay, sorry, I'm digging way too deep into this. Anyway, we'll move on. I'm over here trying to solve this crime. No, we don't want to know. I don't want to know. McElroy, you bad guy.
I don't know what they're looking for. They're all
probably looking for more casings. Seeing what else they can.
Townspeople, though.
Is it the townspeople? Huh. They're like, is he really gone? Can we salvage anything out of his truck?
So that must be the bank behind there where they were taking Trina.
Yeah. RV BFE says, depends on how bad the crime was, and you got to be willing to do the time if you do get caught dealing with the justice, and if your name is Walker, Texas Ranger. I think they had probably decided that they were willing to do the time, first of all. Second of all, at this point, like, what time? Nobody's serving any time for shooting anybody in that town. Linda said, I wonder if Trina was relieved. You know, and that's kind of what I'm tossed up on. I really need to figure out her age, and I'll do that before we come live again. I know this live's running over. I apologize, but this is a great story. But I will find out her age, because I'm thinking her age was probably young, and maybe the grooming had something to do with the way that she's reacting to a lot of this stuff. Roy and Becky said they did what the system wouldn't do.
Yeah.
Sounds like textbook vigilante. Shoot him again, Linda Barker says. All right. So, yeah, I really think it's going to have to do with a lot of her age as the wife. We're going to figure that out. I'll work on that. True grand juries, no indictments.
Maryville, Missouri, the lawyer David Baird, the Nottoway County prosecutor at the time, said the crime is fairly unremarkable in the context of a current day gang shooting, witnessed by many but seen by few, willing to risk the safety by rattling out the crew.
I don't think it had anything to do with risking the safety. I think it had everything to do with the town was sick of dealing with not being safe.
Yeah.
Hey, Chrissy Mama, thank you so much for coming in. Hello, hello. Thank you, beautiful ladies, for coming in. If anybody doesn't have the Reese Jusay or Chrissy Mama, and I say this all the time, please add them. They are so supportive and so kind. You guys really want to have them as your friends, I promise. They're beautiful, absolutely wonderfully kind ladies. I said it in 1981, and I'll say it now. Baird told Patch, once you boil away to the facts of what occurred, you can probably point to hundreds of similar reports every week across the United States.
If McElroy had been shot by a lone gunman on a dark road at night, it would have made the Maryville paper for a day, McLean said. There just wouldn't have been a story. Few were criticized as mightily as Baird over the lack of prosecution in McElroy's murder.
So that's what I'm wondering. But I guess maybe they weren't like, maybe the townspeople one-on-one, none of them were like, I can't do it. I can't murder somebody. You know what I mean? They weren't the type that had that in them. So they were like, but if we shoot our guns together, then just one of our bullets will do it and we won't know who actually did it. So then it'll be okay, you know, versus just catching them on a road and one of them doing it by themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, the marshal, he had permission to do it.
Yeah.
Why didn't he just take it on himself and do it? I don't know. Tinks, good night. Sweet dreams. I hope you get a good night's rest. Thanks for coming in. Its proceedings are secret, but in news interviews at the time, McElroy's widow said she told a county grand jury who murdered her husband. Still, the panel didn't return an indictment, giving rise to conspiracy theories about a law enforcement cover-up. Also, a theme in No One Saw a Thing.
And how could she know if they were walking her to the bank? Maybe she knows the two that had the guns. I don't know. But there was a mob, you know, of people surrounding the two with the guns. How did she know?
I don't think she knows. I don't think this much time would have passed and she would have known.
Yeah.
And no one would have been prosecuted at this point, because at this point, so much time has passed. There's been new law enforcement come in, they would have gone back and prosecuted whoever it was at this point. There's no way they would have let people get away with it this far out.
Yeah. The FBI entered the case, stiff-arming and threatening people, is how Monty, the Bowencap's daughter, relates it. Investigators dug and dug, but Skidmore residents maintained their silence. A federal grand jury was convened, and again, there was no indictments, and the McElroy murder case was tossed back to Baird.
RVBFE, that's a good theory too.
It is.
Or one guy with multiple guns to make it look like more than one. That's a good theory. You know, I don't know. I wonder. They had so many people involved, though. I don't know. Maybe it was one guy, but they sure had enough people out in the streets. And I think some of the story has leaked because naturally people talk. There's no way they're going to keep all of it secret because people do talk. There's no, like, the telephone game,
Yeah.
there's no way for people to keep their lips zipped entirely, right? And I think that's why they had so many people surround the truck, or they had more than one guy with a gun. That way they couldn't narrow down who exactly did it, because with that many people watching, you want to make sure they can't narrow it down. You know what I mean? So I think that's how they got away with not being able to narrow it down, is having more than one guy with a gun.
Yeah.
Many wondered, why didn't Barrett press charges against the man Trina McElroy fingered as her husband's killer? You don't take cases to trial to see what might happen, the former prosecutor said. We didn't have sufficient evidence to go to trial. Yeah.
And I wonder who she was naming.
And in small towns like that, you get like people that are mad at each other, right?
Yeah.
So maybe she was just mad at somebody and decided to name them.
It was Bowencap.
Bowencap.
Yeah.
Over that penny candy still.
Yeah.
Vigilante killing? Yes, that's exactly what it was, a vigilante killing.
The media descended on Skidmore after the killing, an event that continues to define the people of the small town to the world. At times, with wildly exaggeration, versions of what happened. Yeah.
Oh, they could have had a few outsiders come in and do the job. They could have. But think about it if it was your town. If that was your town and he had been tormenting you and your neighbors and you all were having to live the way that these people were having to live, do you think you guys would hire people from out of town to come in and do it? Or do you think that a couple of your men would have had enough and eventually taken care of business? I'm just curious. Like, these are the things I think about when I think about these cases. Not that I think I could actually pull the trigger and kill somebody. I don't ever think I could actually do that. I would have a hard time if somebody broke in my house pulling the trigger. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know if I could do that. But if people came, I don't know. I'm just picturing men back in the day, tough guy men, Chrissy Mama says, hello, Nettie.
Mm-hmm.
Think of a firing squad. No one really knows if it was their bullet that killed the person. Yes, exactly. All right.
And that's probably how they wanted it.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Is that mine? Yours?
I think. One account even said that McElroy rode in town on a horse and was shot and killed. Baird, the former prosecutor, said. Some of these things are simply assumed to be factual. One assumption Skidmore hasn't been able to shed is that McElroy's killing was an act of vigilante justice.
I don't think that's an assumption. I mean, it's pretty
Yeah.
much fact. Town bully meets his match. Yes. Now she looks much younger than him there. That's the wife on the bottom, right?
Yeah, that's the wife on the bottom.
Yeah, she looks much younger than him there.
And the papers are all excited. Look how they've just printed that.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Neither Baird nor McLean, whose crime novel has been praised as an accurate account of McElroy's killing by that. McLean doesn't believe the men gathered at the Legion Hall that morning ever made a group decision to kill McElroy.
What gave rise to that theory is that they were in the Legion Hall for a meeting, then went down to the D&G when they heard McElroy was in town. That it was a vigilante killing is not true for a lot of reasons. If they had decided to kill him, they wouldn't have stood in the street to watch the murder unfold, he said.
That they had guns wasn't unusual. Farmers carried them to kill varmints or for hunting, displaying them in plain sight in rear window gun racks. This is true. This is true. I know farmers carry guns. They carry them in their holster. They have them in their trucks. They carry them all the time. That's true. I do believe if they were killing the town bully, everybody would watch that.
Yeah. Two people decided in the midst of that whole incident they had enough, McLean said. Those who witnessed the killing didn't speak of it again, not because they were part of a conspiracy, McLean believes, but because they're Soptic by nature.
Stoic by nature.
So,
So two people.
well, because they're claiming it's two because of the guns.
Yeah, but they're saying that two people spoke of it again. It says those who witnessed the killing didn't speak of it again. They didn't speak of it again.
They didn't.
Okay. This is why people shouldn't buy property in Missouri.
Stop it.
You don't have a town. I live in Missouri.
I have property in Missouri too.
You don't have a town full of people who were hiding a guilty conscience, he said. They were witnesses. It really isn't that it was never spoken of. They had an instinctive reaction to close up. A lot of them didn't even tell their wives and children. They just went stone silent.
I never thought there was a series of phone calls that went around. Don't say this or that. Those farmers have known each other since they were children. They know how everybody thinks.
If those responsible for killing McElroy are vigilantes, it's because the justice system made them that way. That I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe they wanted to be.
And actually, I think those shooters saved lives in the end, she said. McElroy was spinning so hard out of control. I have no doubt he would have tried to kill my dad again, given the chance. I have no doubt that he tried to kill my mom. The courts would not help us or Skidmore. The police would not or could not help us or Skidmore, so what else was left?
Yeah. Fear is what killed him. It's probably accurate that few outside of McElroy's family shed tears over his death, but many Skidmore residents still struggle with the spectacle of a man violently and publicly killed.
A lot of the people were not happy about what happened, McLean said. Number one, it is murder. Women had a harder time with it than the men. They thought about his wife and his children and where it left them, particularly the children.
I'm struggling with that one because this man was accused of SA. He was accused of R-ing children.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of struggling with where it left the children because he was not good to children. He was not good to anyone. So I'm thinking the kids were safer without him, if I'm being honest. There may never be an answer to the question of who killed Ken Rex McElroy. McElroy was lucky he died quickly, Linda says. I agree.
Yeah. Estes, the sheriff, some tried to implicate in a conspiracy, is dead. So is Stratton. Trina McElroy remarried and had a fairly normal life, refusing interviews after she left Skidmore. She died in 2012. Dale Clement, the man Trina named, okay, so there's the named, as McElroy's killer, died of cirrhosis of the liver in 2009, and he made no deathbed confession, but someone wrote in a memorial tribute that he was a good, brave man.
Okay, so he didn't make a confession or anything.
No.
All right. McFadden, the lawyer who once told the New York Times the town got away with murder, is dead too. In the end, fear is what killed him, Gosley said.
Was justice served? Absolutely not, he said. Murder is still murder. But if tried by a jury of their peers, I doubt anybody around here would have convicted the shooters.
They sacrificed one for the betterment of hundreds. Yes, it's against the law. But you know, the law is not the final definite word on him. The law had plenty of chances, plenty of times to lock him up.
Yeah. Added Monte. Justice failed everybody. It failed McElroy too, because it failed to protect him from himself. The justice system just crashed and burned over this case.
Beloved Ken Rex McElroy.
It says brave.
Fearless and compassionate.
Now, who bought that stone? His wife?
Be nice, Dawn. Be nice. Trying to be real nice. Okay. So we've been live for a while now, so I'm gonna try this, wrap my final statements here about this up really quick. But nobody has made this story into a movie. Actually, they just did actually, right?
Yeah, that's with the water tower, where it said nobody saw anything. Yeah, it's a series actually.
Yeah, that's what's bringing about a lot more attention to it again, is the fact that they're making it into a docu-series again. Um, but here's my thing with it is, okay, so recently in the last several years, they've started to uncover that a lot of men are sitting on death row in prison that are innocent. Okay. And they're starting to find that out through DNA evidence. They're, through these genealogy DNA testing, they're starting to be able to let some of these guys that are sitting on death row out, guys and gals. And they're starting to find out, oh, we've locked these people up and they've spent a lot of their life in prison, and they're innocent. Okay. Much the same as that, there is a lot of people that are walking around that have committed horrific crimes that have been not held accountable over and over again, much like Ken McElroy. Okay. So as much as the jail system can be good, it can be bad. Much like the justice system is good, it can be bad. And here we have an instance where it is bad. It did not do the right thing by these townspeople. It over and over and over again failed these townspeople. Do I believe in taking a life myself? Am I going to go shoot somebody? No. But if I'm going to answer the question that I ask you guys, do I think these townspeople did right? Absolutely. I think whoever did this to him did the right thing. They were all in danger on a consistent and constant basis. This man was hurting children. He was hurting women. He was stealing from everybody. He was constantly putting everyone in that town in fear. And as we go through this series, we're going to find out why this town went from having 400 people to now it only has 200 people. And that may be more so to do with the justice system is failing this town miserably. And so if the townspeople are having to stand up for themselves because the justice system is not doing what it needs to do for them, that's unfortunate. And I wish that something would change for them. So that's kind of where I stand with it. I think that whoever did this deserves to have their privacy at this point. I don't think we should try to discover who did it. It's been years, many years. And the people that lived in that town obviously felt the need for what happened to happen, and they kept it private. So that says a lot, because things like that they're not usually kept private. And his wife, she had to have seen something. She had to have known something, and she kept it private. So I have the feeling she heard through the grapevine more than she's saying. I think she gave a fake name. I don't know. So what do you think, Nettie?
I think they finally had enough. They tried their best and went to the marshal, went to, I think it was the sheriff, and they tried. And then finally, when nothing was happening and to put this guy away, they finally just had enough. So I don't think I could have done it, but definitely I can see why they did. They were in fear every day. They were sleeping on shifts, and so yeah, they're at their breaking point. So it was justice served in that town.
Yeah. And I don't always believe in vigilante stuff. I don't. But I think the list of crimes that this man had and the things that he was getting away with at that point, there comes a time where the town breaks. And I think the town just broke.
Just broke.
I wonder if crime went down in neighboring towns. Linda Barker, that's interesting. I think that's something that we can also look into before we come back because, like we mentioned, this is going to be a 3-part series. So we'll be coming back with more things that went on in Skidmore, Missouri, and that'll be in the next 2 Sundays. We'll have more information. Paul S. Vines, hello and welcome. We will have more on Skidmore, Missouri in the next 2 Sundays. So come on back and check that out. This is, of course, the biggest thing that went down in Skidmore. But you'll be interested to find out that there is more that's gone on in Skidmore. So come on back next Sunday and check that out. But this has gone on a half hour longer than normally our Sunday shows do. So I'm sure Nettie is getting just as tired as I am. But we appreciate everyone coming in and hanging out with us. Thank you so much for hanging in with us for this. But wishing you all much kindness and much love.
And we're sending love your way. Good night.
Thanks so much. Love y'all. Much love. Bye-bye.
Bye.